Auntie Mae's revenge was quiet. He texted his mistress once the old lady's gone. "We'll have it all," but I was already 10 steps ahead. Powerful life lesson for every woman. I want you to lean in close, baby, because Auntie Mae is about to tell you something that'll shake the sleep out your soul. I was 62 years old when I found that message on my husband's phone. "Once the old lady's gone, we'll have it all." That's what he typed to a woman half my age, with a laughing emoji at the end like my death was a punchline. My chest caved in like a kicked-in door, but something ancient rose up inside me. That night, something fierce, something holy. I didn't scream. I didn't throw his clothes in the front yard like the old me would have done. No, darlin'. I closed that phone, poured myself a glass of sweet tea, and started rewriting the rest of my life before the ice even melted. And tonight, I'm telling you how I turned betrayal into a throne, because somebody listening right now is sitting in the ashes of what they thought was love, and I refuse to let you stay there. See, the first truth that saved me was this: silence is not weakness. Sometimes silence is the sound of a queen loading her armor. When he came home that evening, whistling like nothing had shattered, I smiled, kissed his cheek, and asked him how his day was. He never saw the storm behind my eyes. People think revenge has to be loud plates breaking, curses flying, doors slamming. But real revenge, the kind that rewrites destiny, starts in the dark where nobody's watching. That night, I called my lawyer at 2 a.m. I moved money he didn't know I had. I changed beneficiaries he thought were locked forever. I took every certificate, every deed, every policy out of our joint names, and put them where only God and I could find them. And I did it with my lipstick still perfect and my heart finally free. Young people always ask me, "Auntie Mae, how did you stay so calm?" Because I realized something that changed everything. The moment somebody plans your funeral while you're still breathing, they've already handed you the pen to write their ending. I just decided mine would be beautiful and theirs would be a lesson. You don't have to announce your comeback. You just have to survive long enough to have one, and surviving quietly is still surviving. Sometimes the most powerful thing a woman can do is disappear from a man's future without ever leaving the room. The second fire that lit me up was remembering who I was before I ever belonged to anybody. I sat in my closet surrounded by dresses he bought me, jewelry he gave me on anniversaries that now felt like bribes, and I cried so hard I thought my ribs would crack. But in that breakdown came a breakthrough. I found an old photo from 1981-24. Old me in a red sundress, laughing on my daddy's porch the day I graduated nursing school. That girl didn't need permission to shine. She didn't shrink so somebody else could feel tall, and I realized I had spent 38 years dimming my light so his ego could stay warm. Never again. I started waking up at 5 a.m. again. I enrolled in online classes. I bought myself flowers and wrote love letters to the woman I abandoned to keep a man comfortable. I danced in my kitchen to Aretha Franklin while cooking meals just for me. I rebuilt me piece by piece, not for him, not to prove anything, but because I deserved to meet myself again. And when you start loving you harder than anybody ever loved you, something supernatural happens. The universe starts conspiring in your favor. Doors you forgot existed swing wide open. People who forgot your name suddenly remember how powerful you are. Baby, the greatest plot twist of my life was choosing me when everybody else chose to count me out. The third lesson carved itself into my bones. Forgiveness is not for them. It's for the space they're taking up in your spirit. For months, I carried that betrayal like a tumor. Every time I looked at him buttering his toast, I wanted to scream, "How dare you plan my grave while I'm still making your coffee?" Hate was eating me alive. Then one Sunday, the preacher said something that knocked the wind out of me. Unforgiveness is drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. I went home, locked myself in the bathroom, and forgave him out loud while water ran. so he wouldn't hear me cry. I forgave him for every lie, every late night, every dollar he hid, every future he tried to steal. And when I said I release you, in that mirror, I swear I felt chains fall off my ankles. Forgiveness didn't mean I stayed. It meant I left without dragging his corpse through my tomorrow. Some of y'all are still handcuffed to people who let go of you years ago. Let them go, not for them, for the version of you waiting on the other side of that freedom. The fourth revelation hit me like church on Sunday morning. Wealth is not what they leave you. It's what you build when they think you're broken. He thought the house, the cars, the accounts, everything was his kingdom, but I had been quietly investing birthday money, overtime checks, inheritance from my mama he never knew about. While he was buying her lingerie, I was buying index funds. While he was texting her about yachts, I was paying off land in my maiden name. When the lawyer finally served him papers, his face went the color of spoiled milk. He kept saying, "This isn't possible. You don't even know how to log into the bank app." Baby, I didn't just know how. I had been moving money like a chess grandmaster while he was busy checkmating himself. And when the judge read out what was mine, free and clear, I didn't smile on the outside, but inside I was shouting hallelujah. Never let anybody convince you you're financially illiterate because you're emotional. Tears and compound interest can coexist. Start where you are. $10 a week, an extra shift. Sell the handbags he bought to keep you quiet. Your financial freedom is the ultimate revenge because it's the one thing they can't sleep with, lie to, or kill. The fifth truth that carried me through the fire was this: community is God's apology for family sometimes. When I finally told my sisters, my church mothers, my nail tech Keisha what he'd done, I braced for pity. Instead, they circled me like the fiercest prayer warriors you ever saw. Miss Lorraine brought lasagna and legal advice. Sister Dorothy prayed in tongues over my paperwork. My grandbaby's teacher started a GoFundMe nobody asked for and raised $2,000 in 4 days. People I hadn't spoken to in 20 years sent Venmos with messages that made me weep. Miss Me, you prayed me through divorce. Now let me hold you up. I learned blood doesn't always mean family. Love does. Some of y'all are suffering in silence because you're scared to tell your people. Tell them anyway. The right ones won't judge you. They'll bring casseroles and baseball bats, whichever you need first. You are not alone unless you choose to be, and even then, God Himself will send ravens with bread if He has to. The sixth and final anchor that kept me from drowning was understanding that my story was never just for me. It was for every woman who would ever feel disposable after 50, after children, after stretch marks, after decades of giving until her hands bled. The day I walked out of that courthouse with everything he thought he'd inherit, I didn't go celebrate with champagne. I went to the graveyard where my mommy is buried, laid a bouquet of sunflowers on her stone, and promised her I would spend the rest of my life making sure no woman ever has to beg for the life she built. I started the Me Foundation, scholarships for single mothers going back to school, emergency funds for women leaving abusive marriages, self-defense classes taught by women who look like your aunties but fight like Navy SEALs. Every time a woman texts me, "Miss me, because of you I left," I hear angels singing. Your pain is not pointless if you turn it into somebody else's parachute. The greatest revenge is not destroying them. It's becoming the safe place you once prayed for. I went from the old lady he couldn't wait to bury to the woman little girls now call when they need to know they're worth fighting for. And if I can rise from that grave he dug, so can you. So here's my final word to you tonight. My beautiful warrior watching this with tears you think nobody sees. The moment somebody decides you're done, that's the moment you begin. You are not the ending they wrote for you. You are the fire they tried to put out that's about to burn down every lie they ever told about your worth. Take back your name, take back your money, take back your joy. And when they look up one day wondering how you became everything without them, just smile the way I did in that courtroom, soft, slow, and unstoppable, and keep walking. The best is not behind you. The best is the woman you're becoming, while they're still stuck on who you used to be. I love you, I believe in you, and I'm living proof that graves can bloom. Now go be undeniable.